You know, I have said something. See, I'm going to tell you how to end the AIDS epidemic. Obviously I'm building up to it. That's probably been, has that been obvious to you? I mean, I've said we have to find the person who can and will. The question is, how do we find this needle of the person who can and will in the haystack of the people who can't and won't? You know? How do we, if we stand up in front of 500 people and show them how to cure things, and that person, and we ask for the person, and the person doesn't emerge, how do we, for God's sake, how do we find this person? Because, I mean, you could have been Ashley Judd's college roommate, and you can call her and say, Ashley, I found the cure, and she'll say, wow, Janine, it's so great to hear from you. And she'll just like slime out of it, you know. It's like, you can just say, listen, I was running out, let me call you back next week when I have more time, you know. And you go, wait a minute, I found the cure for HIV, you can end the epidemic. And she said, well, that's great, Janine. Listen, I'm going to get back to you, I just have to go right now. Bye-bye, you know. So, see, I'm making up this whole fantasy about Ashley and Bono teaching a stadium full of people how to kill HIV. Who knows, you know? What do I know? One thing I have to say is you got to respect them. You know, they're trying, those two. And I'll tell you what. You see, one thing I know is that people, you know, people do not like powerful people. You know, I never realized that until I actually read it in a book by Michael Korda. And I am forever in Michael Korda's debt, and in the debt of all my teachers for showing me these things. And he said, the book was Power, he wrote in the 70s. It's gone, out of print, you can't get it anymore, you know, too bad. Wonderful book, you know. But he said people don't like powerful people because powerful people do things to them, you know. And I have been a powerful person my entire life. I am one of the powerful people of the world, and people hate me. You know? I mean, yeah, and because I do things like, you know, like I go be their house guest, and I take over their hot tub, rewire their living room, scratch their car, and, you know, wake them up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go running with me so we can work together about ending the epidemic, you know. And sometimes they get pretty peeved when I do things like that, you know, and they can be, you know, very resentful and so on. But this is what powerful people do. This is how we live our lives, you know. Goes with the territory, you see. And we also help people. I always have time to help people. Funny thing. But see, the thing that I was going to say is that I liberate my time, and I do not spend my time in ways that are not going to produce, and that I get enmeshed with, and that take too much of my time, and that I don't get entangled because I need to do nothing. And the reason is that in order to find this person, it is my firm belief that the one thing that we have to do and all be able to do is nothing. You know, the other day, I called Kathy the other day, and she was planting her garden. Planting a garden is a form of doing nothing, and I work on I don't garden, okay, but I grow tropical flowers and so on, and I work on my garden, you know, for some time during the day, because that is going to produce a bigger result than me running around trying to help people who aren't helping themselves. Okay? You see, to tell you how are we going to find this person? You know, how are we going to find this needle, this diamond that's turned black by coal dust in a coal bin? maybe I should tell you a little more about Ashley and Bono at their, at their HIV benefit, and they come to the front of the stage. And maybe I should also tell you what the end of the epidemic looks like. And okay, I'll do that. They come to the front of the stage and they say, tomorrow we're going on a tour of Africa. Don't change anything you're doing. We're going to go teach you keep working in your organizations, work for the cure, continue with your medical research, whatever it is you do it. Hand out supplements to people who are HIV positive, just to keep helping everybody. It's not going to end the epidemic, and that's okay. We're going to work toward that together. So we don't have to abruptly change anything right now. Tomorrow we're going on a tour of Africa. Elton John's going with us. Some other important HIV activists are going with us. And let me ask you something now that 99,500 people are doing this, and how many people feel different? Just get up and stand up and show yourselves. And 85,000 people stand up that they feel different. And he says, and call out some of the differences. And people are calling out things like I just feel like light, and like my body is empty of heaviness. I feel like I can do anything. I'm courageous, loving, all these wonderful things. Okay, now if you feel like, more abundant, affluent, like if you're more relaxed about money, raise your hand. And not everybody raises their hand, but maybe you got 75,000 people raising their hand. And he says, okay, we came here to raise money to buy drugs for the Africans. That's what we're going to do. Maybe now that you feel better, you'll write a bigger check. So write your checks. And we're going to Africa. We want to take the drugs with us when we go. We want to tell, when we get there tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow probably, we want to tell the Africans, we got you the drugs. Now, to understand what the end of the HIV epidemic looks like, and also how we're going to find the person, for both things, we need to use Chuck as our model. Chuck actually provided the example. And the funny thing is, I did not see this for 12 years until now, until I started making this talk. And it dawned on me, I started realizing it slowly but surely, I had to realize that Chuck is the person to look at, to understand this. Somebody told me that Brad Pitt said he wants to wipe disease off the planet. Now, Brad Pitt is a major environmental activist. He's involved in a lot of causes. But the funny thing is, here's a guy, if he said that, I don't know, they were telling me about an interview they read, I guess, but he is onto something. You gotta give this guy credit, because he's really onto something. Because you see, if you wipe, let's say you handle global warming, you're still going to have disease. But if you handle disease, the people who have cured, who are in this calm, perceptive, understanding, inventive, intuitive, globally connected, and brilliant place, the place of knowing how to create solutions, those people will find the solution for global warming. So if you cure everybody, you also, at the same time, will cure global warming, war will end, because they don't make war when they're in the calm, clear place. And, I think maybe we have to face that some people aren't going to cure and they're going to die. But, then they'll be gone, so we'll be back to, this is the solution for everything. See, I think he either knows or intuits that. And this is something we have to really respect.